Tell us where we stand in this fight and what the stakes are.
Well, it's the beginning of what I hope is a fight that we can win, because if we can't, then that means a lot of people in this country will no longer have access to that internet the way they've expected it. We all want choices. We want the freedom to choose. And if you get rid of net neutrality, all of a sudden you go towards a system where the haves will have it all and those who are hardworking will get very little.
Now, what about the idea that the president just signed an executive order to make it easier for companies to put broadband in rural areas? Is that taking the sting out of the tail a little bit? It
won't work. Because why would a company invest money in a rural area where you can't make that much money, there aren't too many people, instead of going into the higher income areas of the country or the densely populated areas of the country? That's exactly why you need to have net neutrality, so there's no gaming of the system by the providers of the service. Think in terms of water or even education, electricity. We don't tell companies that get to dispense water or electricity or the places that get to provide education for our kids, you decide where you want to go based on money. We know where they'll go, where there's money, and they'll leave everyone else behind. Think in terms of old mail service. In the rural areas, there would have been no mail service had it been based on money.
Mr. Attorney General, what can you do more than this lawsuit to actually try to fight this rollback of net neutrality? For example, is it possible for you to take a case against an internet service provider that might be discriminating by providing a lower speed service to some of its customers? Can you do that?
We could continue to enforce our state laws. We could make sure that a company is not discriminating against communities. And we can work with our state legislature and our governor to make sure that we pass whatever laws we can in our state to make sure we have a robust regime of protections for consumers. And we are moving in all of those fronts, because this is about not only providing people with choice and freedom to choose, but it's also about keeping California's economy moving forward. We're the economic engine for the country. We're the 6th largest economy now in the world. Why would we want anyone to disrupt that?
Who has been a bigger opponent of the FCC chairman's policies, would you say, the entertainment industry or the tech industry?
Both. They both understand the consequences of not having that access for consumers. If the choice is made by those who have money, who wield power, then those in the middle class, are the biggest losers, because they don't have the financial leverage to try to attract the business their way, and they'll be left with the crumbs. You'll have different speeds of internet service. You'll have different choices in the types of media that you can look at or watch. Your kids, can you imagine your kids if they use the internet to do their homework? There will be kids who have access to everything they need on the internet to do good work and excel in school. There will be vast numbers of kids whose parents can't afford that, and therefore they're going to be behind. Are
you in conversation at all with any internet service providers in the state of California? Have you notified them that this will be the action you'll be taking?
I've been working with a number of the internet service providers and those in the internet community overall for more than, for the last year that I've been the Attorney General, because California has been moving to try to do what it can to make sure that we move forward protecting our consumers before this action by the FCC. So we'll continue that conversation, because we want our internet service providers, our companies here, to thrive. California is the innovator when it comes to the United States of America. We want companies to locate in California. We want them to know that the innovation occurs here. We're ground zero for innovation. But we want people to know we want to do it for everyone.
Attorney General, I want to move to DACA now, because it's extraordinarily, front of mind as we look to another vote to keep the government open, and the Democrats are holding out for some legislation on DACA longer term. Nearly a quarter of DACA recipients live in your state. Will you be taking, more legislative efforts to block anything that might hurt these dreamers?
We will do everything that we can, just as we filed the lawsuit that has stopped the Trump administration from abandoning the program. And right now, DACA dreamers are able to reapply for their status again. So we'll do everything we can. I'm hoping right now Congress actually has a good agreement in place that they can vote on to keep DACA not only alive, but to keep it permanent. And that would be the best solution we can have. And quite honestly, if Donald Trump would just stay out of the way, I think the members in the House and the Senate bipartisanly could come up with a deal.
Well,
but
of course,
Donald Trump
you've always been optimistic about that. You really were one of the primary bipartisan immigration people in Congress. You were there for 24 years, and the 2013 effort in particular, you know, you were played a very strong role in. Do you imagine something will get done in a bipartisan way, given that the President of the United States cannot just stay out of the way? He is very heavily involved in this.
If he could just resist his impulses to get involved and get in the way, we could have a good agreement.
Yes,
it's
but he is not going to get out of the way. He doesn't need to.
Well, then I think, Vonnie, you're answering the question, and I hope that's not the case, because he has said on occasion that he wants to see a permanent fix for Dreamers. Then on occasions he has said it's dead. It's hard to understand. I would just urge the members in Congress and the House and Senate to move forward. And at the end of the day, I don't think Donald Trump is going to get in the way of success, because he likes to be associated with success.